Welcome to the Healing Waves Reiki podcast. I'm your host, Cathy Scarpitto, Reiki Master Teacher, spiritual mentor, intuitive, and physical therapist. This is a grounded, heart-centered space where we explore Reiki, energy, and the science and spirit of healing. How Reiki supports the body, deepens intuition, regulates the nervous system, and helps transform the experience of healing. Where Reiki meets science, intuition meets practice, and healing becomes more human. If you're curious about Reiki, drawn to deeper healing, or seeking a more connective and intuitive way to care for yourself or others, you're in the right place. Let's begin. Today's episode is a shorter, reflective conversation about something that comes up often in my work with clients: sensitivity, empathy, and how these qualities can sometimes feel like anxiety. If you've ever felt overwhelmed in certain environments, drained after being around people, or like you're carrying emotions that don't quite feel like your own, this episode is for you. A lot of people come to me saying, I feel anxious all the time. But when we begin to explore it more deeply, what they're actually describing is often sensitivity. Not just emotional sensitivity, but a heightened awareness of people's moods, emotional tone in a room, subtle shifts in energy, stress in environments, unspoken dynamics between people. This level of awareness can be a gift. But without understanding how to manage it, it can also feel overwhelming. One of the most important things I want to say clearly is this: sensitivity is not the problem. But without grounding and regulation, sensitivity can become overstimulation. And overstimulation often gets labeled as anxiety. When your nervous system is constantly picking up information, internal and external, it can begin to feel like restlessness, racing thoughts, fatigue, emotional overwhelm, tension in the body, a sense of being on edge. But underneath that is often not fear. It's too much input. Many people I work with identify as empaths, meaning they naturally feel what other people are feeling. This can show up as taking on other people's emotions, feeling responsible for how others feel, difficulty separating mine from theirs, needing time alone to reset. Over time, this can create a pattern where your system never fully returns to neutral. And when the nervous system doesn't return to neutral, it stays activated. This activated state is often what we call anxiety. From a physical therapy and nervous system standpoint, what's happening is not just emotional, it's physiological. Your nervous system is constantly scanning your environment for cues of safety or stress. For highly sensitive people, that system can become more responsive. That means you notice more, you feel more, you process more. But you can also become more easily overstimulated. And overstimulation can mimic anxiety very closely. Over time, both in my own experience and working with clients, I started noticing something important. Many people who identify as anxious are also deeply sensitive, not fragile, not broken, but attuned. They often describe feeling everything very deeply, but not always having tools to come back to themselves afterward. That coming back piece is key because sensitivity without grounding becomes overwhelm. The goal is not to become less sensitive. It's to become more anchored in yourself. To know, what am I feeling? What belongs to me? What am I picking up from my environment? And most importantly, how do I return to my own energy? Instead of asking, why am I so anxious? You might gently ask, what am I absorbing that I haven't released yet? That shift alone can change your relationship with your experience because it moves you from judgment to awareness. If this resonates with you, here's something simple you can try. Place one hand on your heart and one hand on your abdomen. Take a slow breath in and a longer breath out. And silently say, I am here with myself. I return to my own energy. I release what is not mine. Notice what happens in your body, not to fix anything, but just to reconnect. If you identify as a sensitive person or an empath, I want you to hear this clearly. Your sensitivity is not the problem, but it does ask for awareness. It asks for grounding. It asks for space to come back to yourself. And when you learn how to do that, sensitivity stops feeling like overwhelm and starts feeling like clarity. As we come to the end of today's episode, I want you to remember this. Your sensitivity is not something you need to fix. It's something you can learn to understand, support, and care for. And if today's conversation resonated with you, I've created a free companion workbook to help you explore these ideas more deeply. Inside, you'll find gentle reflections, journaling prompts, and practical exercises designed to help you better understand your own sensitivity and begin creating healthier, energetic boundaries in everyday life. You can download the workbook from the Healing Waves Reiki Workbook Library using the link in the show notes. And on this podcast, you will also find one of my favorite practices, the surround, ground, and shield technique, a simple exercise that you can return to whenever you're feeling overwhelmed or entering a situation that you know is energetically challenging. With practice, it can become a powerful daily ritual that helps you stay centered while remaining open and compassionate. And if today's episode left you wondering, now what? Join me next week as we continue this conversation with an episode all about energy protection. We'll talk about what energy protection really is, what it isn't, and how to create healthy, energetic boundaries without closing yourself off from the world. I'll share simple, practical techniques you can use every day to feel grounded, protected, and fully yourself. Thank you for spending this time with me today. And if this episode spoke to you, I'd be so grateful if you'd share it with someone who has ever said, I think I'm just too sensitive. They may be simply discovering one of their greatest gifts. And until next time, be gentle with yourself. Trust what you feel. And remember, healing doesn't happen by becoming someone else. It happens by coming home to who you've been all along. Take good care, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for listening to the Healing Waves Reiki podcast. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who may need it. Subscribe and leave a review so more people can find this work. Until next time, stay grounded, stay open, and keep healing. This podcast is intended for informational, educational, and inspirational purposes only. The content shared on this podcast is not medical, psychological, legal, or professional advice, and is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any condition. Always seek the guidance of a qualified healthcare provider, mental health professional, or other licensed professional regarding your specific needs. The views expressed by guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of the host. Listener discretion and personal responsibility are advised.